Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second session of Mindfulness is Swiss Knife for Corporate Professionals. What we covered last time was about attention, which is the foundation of mindfulness and a very powerful practice. We explored a couple of aspects of attention. Anybody would like to share? Those who attended, Suteshna, Shruti, what were your takeaways from the last session? And then we will move on to discussing awareness, which is what attention leads to, and very powerful practice. We will see that. I don't want to talk too much about it before we actually start discussing it. Sudeshna, Shruti, anything quickly you would like to share about what we discussed last time?
Yeah. Sorry, I took time to join. Actually, I was not in Ahmedabad. Had gone to our village home, just returned and rushed to join. So I couldn't join at 4:45.
No worries, no worries.
So
Yeah, go on.
First we have to uh, pay attention in order to get awareness about the patterns or whatever about ourselves, and then comes acceptance, and then that is what I have written.
All
Now
right,
I am
all right.
unable to
No worries,
make,
no
make
worries.
it.
Yeah, we
So
will
there
do. Yeah,
was
yeah.
so there was like you had told that brain is it is just 2% of our body weight, but it controls 90% of our activity. So attention is towards the state of mind, towards the train of thoughts, and how we deciphered, we became aware of the triggers for distraction, and that once we get distracted, it takes about 23 plus minutes to come back.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we need to control on that and much more. So, no, you had told that you will not try to control your mind, rather, you will focus.
Correct.
You will have
Observe.
a focused mind to get a
Observe.
sharp.
We will not control, we will observe.
और आपने सुपर ब्रेन योगा के बारे में बताया था, ऐसे करके सिटअप्स, एंड मैंने कोशिश किया था, वो पिछले 1 साल से मेरे घुटने खराब हो गए, बट आपने जब वो हाफ सिटअप बताया, तो दैट वाज बेटर.
Yeah.
Full squats not possible for me anymore.
No worries, no worries. Do half a squat, and that's equally good. You must have seen Jack Canfield also doing half a squat, so that's good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Sudeshna. Shruti?
Yes, for me, it was a very good takeaway to understand that how you told that hard work is needed, but then it has to be focused attention. So it's a multiplier. So how it is important to be in that moment, and that Pomodoro technique that we have discussed twice, that was also beautiful, trying to incorporate that. And the one of the most beautiful takeaways was to realize this concept of train of thoughts. And I realized that how, yes, one negative thought actually leads to another, then next, and it becomes like a trail of thoughts. We never just leave alone with one thought. It's always a trail of thoughts, and how we from one thing we switch to absolutely another thing, which is even more negative, and then we feel even worse. So yes, to get down from that train before it's too late and we have to take the full circle, that's very empowering. And since then, I've become more aware about what kind of thoughts come in, and I try to stop myself at the first thought and before going ahead. So, and I've also shared this with my family, and it's a beautiful concept that is going to stay with me. Very powerful.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti. So for the benefit of Devparna and Rinki, we will quickly go through what we discussed last time. That mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. So we need to be, if we can train our mind, If we can make friends with our mind, then it is helpful. But if we let the mind rule us, then it can really create havoc. So we need to pay attention to our thoughts, and that is what mindfulness is. Keeping one's complete attention to the experience on a moment to moment basis in an open and non-judgmental way. And there are 5 components to this. One is attention, which is the foundational component, which is what we did last time. And to the experience on a moment-to-moment basis. So this is awareness, and acceptance and non-identification and choice are the parts which is open and non-judgmental way. But most of the times we are not able to stay in the present and stay in the focus, because we are either in the past or in the future, rarely in the present. And that squeezes out the present, and present is all we have. The past is gone and future has not yet come. What we have got is only the present. So when we start paying attention to our breath, which is what the exercise we did last time, and root our attention to the present offers more opportunities to us. Our attention span grows, more ideas come. We are not like crowded. Our mind is not crowded with multiple things, with the deluge of information that is there, but we are more conscious about what we are thinking, and we create more opportunities for ourselves. For dealing with our thoughts, we need an anchor. So last time we did used breath as an anchor, and today what we're going to do is use body sensation as an anchor. And the meditation today will be little longer. It will be about 20 minutes, which you can do sitting or lying down. Either way works. And that is what we're going to talk about. What Sudeshna and Shruti were talking about train of thoughts is the fact that our thoughts have magnetic power, and so they attract thoughts which are like them. Like human beings produce human beings, and a dog would produce a dog, or a horse would produce a horse. A thought also will produce a thought which is like itself. So if we are thinking a negative thought, we will have more negative thoughts, and we need to become aware. And or if you are thinking a positive thought, it will create more positive thoughts. So we need to become aware and change those thoughts. We need to pay attention to our thoughts, become aware about them, and replace them with positive thoughts, which is what gratitude is, and which is what we're going to cover later. And when we do that, then we start attracting more positive thoughts, and more good things happen. As a part of you signing up for this program, you are also eligible for a mindful living thought of the day, WhatsApp group. So I'll be sharing the link of that in the group, and you can choose, subscribe to that group, and there we'll be sharing one positive thought every day. And when we, pay attention to that, it will attract more positive thoughts. So that is what the train of thoughts is about. And now we get into awareness. If attention is like building muscle in the gym, awareness is like the cardio. It is more expansive and a very powerful concept. It is one of the, from a leadership perspective, awareness or self-awareness is one of the top qualities for a leader. I don't say this. Center for Creative Leadership is saying this. This is their research. And Center for Creative Leadership is considered to be one of the topmost institutions in leadership training across the world. And it is not only Center for Creative Leadership. There are many other research which talk about self-awareness being in the top 3 qualities for most C-suite executives across the globe. So this is something very important. And as we go along the session today, you will understand why self-awareness is so important for us. First, I would like to draw your attention to this energy scale, which Dr. David Hawkins talked about in his book, Power versus Force, and in which he has calibrated the energy levels associated with the emotions. And there are primarily 2 emotions, fear and love. And anything below 200 is driven by fear, and anything above 200 is driven by love. And so the first awareness, is which emotion I am being driven by, whether it is shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, or pride. And once we become aware of that emotion, then we can consciously walk towards moving to the high energy level. And there are two simple ways to do it. One is mindfulness, of course, and the second one is gratitude. So once we become aware, then we can use these techniques to move up to a higher level of energy. And when we move to 200 and above, that's when synchronicity starts happening, serendipity starts happening. So this is the level of awareness that we start with. And today there are multiple things that we are going to discuss about, to which we should bring our awareness, starting with emotions. Our emotions are very powerful force, so if I think something, I may not really do about it, but if I'm feeling something about it, like if I'm feeling angry, I may actually go and hit somebody, or I may murder somebody. But so emotions have that power. It's called energy in motion. So becoming aware of our emotions, what am I feeling? And one very simple yet very effective exercise is to just tune in. And we are going to do that meditation also a little later. But even without the meditation, just tune in and feeling, what am I feeling today? And asking myself this question. You can take a screenshot of this, or I can share in the group also. What is the intensity of the emotion I'm feeling? What brought about that emotion? What am I learning about myself? And where in the body do I feel this emotion? And it's best if we do this writing rather than typing. This was shared to be with me by my coach, Thaddeus Lawrence. This was, I think, in 2021, towards the end of 2020 or 2021. Towards the end of 2020, when I signed up for a coaching program with him on goal setting. And I shared my goals with him, and he asked me, Ashish, how are you feeling about it? And those were very ambitious goals. I think I was trying to do 3x in 2021 compared to what I had done in 2020. So he asked me, Ashish, how are you feeling about this? And I said, I don't feel anything about it. And then he said, what do you think that tells you about it? And I had no answer. And then he asked me to do this. And the whole of January 2021, I did this journaling exercise. And this is very, very powerful. It's very transformative, very simple, but very transformative. It really puts in touch with the emotions, the source of it, and where we feel it. So this is something, I would really urge you to do. And another thing I realized about emotions is that they are impermanent. So even if it is anger, anger is impermanent. Or if it is sadness, it is impermanent. Or happiness is also impermanent. Anything, depression, anxiety is impermanent. Realizing this fact that emotions are impermanent is important, because sometimes we just feel trapped, that I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, but whatever it is, it will pass. And I particularly use this realization that emotions are impermanent to kick off my smoking habit. I realized that there is a urge of smoking which comes and then it passes away, comes and passes away. So over a period of couple of months, I practiced not, uh, attending to that urge of smoking by lighting a cigarette, but not do anything about it. And finally, on 1st of January 2010, I kicked off the habit of smoking, and I've been smoke-free since then. So whether it is related to addictions or managing your anger, this realization that emotions are impermanent can be very useful. It can also be useful when we are dealing with other people and somebody is very angry. So typically when somebody talks to us angrily, we tend to pull back, but we can be normal in those situations, realizing that this person is angry now for whatever reason, something must have triggered, but it can, he'll cool down over a period of time. So I use this also when, sometimes the customers would come to meet me and they would be very irate. They'll typically start by shouting or complaining or talking very angrily. And I would just listen to them. And the fact that I have listened to them itself would make them, make their anger cool down, and then they would cool down. So I won't react to their anger, but just listen to it and let it pass, so that so this is how I have kind of used this knowledge in my life but I will be in a couple of minutes. I'll be happy to hear from you also. And the next one is I want to share about this story about what happened when a person was angry. And typically, when we are angry or even otherwise, our reactions tend to be automatic. So there is a trigger and then there is an automatic response, but we can choose to pause and respond to that. And some of you may have heard about this Tandoor Kand, which happened in 1995. There was this guy uh, who was married, and one his wife had a friend, and the husband suspected the wife of having an affair with her friend. So one day when he returns in the evening to home, he sees a wife talking to somebody on the phone, and the wife just puts the phone down. So he got suspicious, and then he asks her, "Whom were you talking to?" And the wife lied, saying that I was talking to my mom. And phones those days had a redial feature. So he picked up the phone and redialed, and there was a guy who answered the phone on the other side. So this guy got furious, and he had a gun. So he pulled out his pistol and he shot her, and the wife died. And then he didn't know what to do, so he hacked her body and he stuffed her body in a tandoor in a hotel. So that's how this got famous or infamous as a Tandoor Kand. And he ran, but later he was caught and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. And then he was released a couple of months ago. But his entire youth, about 23 years, were spent in the prison. And can you guess what was his regret? Not about his wife, of course, that's something which happened, but what was his regret when he was released? Any guesses?
That he could have taken a pause and, then responded later on,
Yeah.
not like in the heat of the moment. Maybe he could
What,
have
yeah.
done something different.
What if I had paused for a second? So this is a very powerful practice. Practice the pause. And sometimes when I talk about this in the corporate setup, people say that if I pause, I would look stupid because there is a price for acting or reacting quickly. But this is not a pause like of a minute. Even our reaction times are typically 1/5 of a second. So even if we can pause for a second, which is not noticeable, we can recalibrate our response and then do whatever we want to do. But that will be a conscious choice. So this sounds very simple, but it's very profound. And we are shortly going to do a mindfulness practice, which will take us through a journey on tuning into our body. Typically, what happens is when we get angry, our heart starts beating faster to pump blood, and our breath becomes shallow and faster, and the ears become red, face becomes red. So there are many signals the body gives. In the mind it's very quick, but the body starts getting reflecting the signals of anger much earlier. So if we can tune into our body, we get the signals of getting angry much earlier, and then it gives us little bit more time to pause and not react but respond. So typically, if you look at it, one could still shout, but that is a conscious choice rather than a reaction, and then we can control it. Now, taking the life of somebody may sound very extreme because we don't carry pistols, but I would like to share something which happened about 2 weeks ago. I was invited by a corporate for coaching an executive who, out of a fit of anger in his company, he caught the collar of another colleague. So this guy was a star performer in the organization, rising very fast. And with that, that attitude comes. And so, there was a heated argument with his colleagues, and he caught him by his collar. So he was suspended with a warning that if this action were to happen again, he will be terminated. So imagine if we can't control our anger at workplace, what can be the consequences? So this is something which I'll pause here to see if you have any responses, reactions to this. How is this landing on you? Is this making sense? Any insights, any experiences, anything you would like to share? Sorry.
It does, Ashish, because at corporates I have encouraged pause when the leaders tend to make an impromptu, at the moment decision which may not be helpful. So pauses help, but then the problem is that while I advise others, I'm not able to practice on myself.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that is where I want to get to.
sure, sure. Thank you for sharing that, Frankie. Hi, Srilata. Yeah.
कल की ही बात है.
Ah,
So I had gone to my village home, and पर वो वहाँ की बात नहीं है. My daughter has joined a place where I had recommended her to join. So it has been 2 months. She was not yet paid the salary. So I have been asking her that release hua. And yesterday also, after I had, I was asking the person whom I had recommended to, and he had said that before Vijayadashami it will be done. So nahi hua. So it was around 10:30 in the evening when I realized that salary. So she said no, but she was okay about it. Ho jayega.
mm,
I wasn't okay about it.
mm,
And there I realized that, that you said no, that high performer, so aa jata hai ek arrogance. So I think that is what triggered me, that I have recommended her. She is a good worker. You are having a good person. So that is the trigger for, attacking that person. And with her, it was like I had recommended, and you are not getting a salary from the person to whom I have recommended you. So dono taraf aag lagi hai. And at the heat of that moment, I just took up the phone, and 10:30 raat ko I typed out messages. Not good or ye or wo. Send करने के बाद immediately I realized that this is not okay. आज विजयादशमी है and you are behaving like this just because you have recommended her. You have no right at all. The person who is getting or not getting should be the one to take the action, not you. So immediately I deleted, but because वो high with it, I was high. So it did not get deleted for everyone. It just got deleted for me. And Gujarat में Navratri chal raha hai. So the person was having garba and all that. So quite late in the after midnight, she responds back with apologetic messages. I felt so bad, but by that time वो हो चुका था. जो गड़बड़ होना था हो चुका था. तो यस, जैसे रिंकी ने बताया कि so when I was it's so easy uh, when you say that don't react, but finally when it is time to take a pause for yourself, gosh, I would have मैसेज भेजने के बाद जो पॉज लिया ना, वो मैसेज लिखते समय भी I could have taken that pause. But I realized that वो कितना मेरे दिमाग में है कि देखो, I have recommended. So the I factor is so high that it forced me to take an action which was not right. So बहुत, when I was very small, I had read this book, Eric Segal का Doctors. So वहाँ पे the protagonist, Bernie Livingston या ऐसा ही कुछ नाम था. So he goes for to study medicine in Harvard Medical College. और वहाँ पे he got selected for the stream psychiatrist, वो जो psychiatry. So वहाँ पे उसको पूछा जाता है, because it's so difficult to get into Harvard. So वहाँ पे उसको पूछा जाता है, why do you think that you should select this stream particularly? Not gynecology, not general medicine, why psychiatry? So this fellow, Barney Livingston, he was just 26 years old, and he says, because I am self-aware. So at that time, I didn't understand at all. He's self-aware होने के कारण, how do you get selected? And he keeps on writing that not a single question was asked to me, and I got selected. And it took me almost 40 plus years for me to understand what is self-awareness. So, और उतना छोटा 26 years age में, he knew what is self-awareness. That's why Howard, of course.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Sudeshna. And thanks for that honesty, because we all have either our own stories, sad stories, if I may say, about relating to anger, or, I wish I had not done that, or I had not said that, And that is why this becomes very important for us to practice that pause. And just one thing I would like to share with you on this note that you mentioned about sending that WhatsApp. In a similar situation like this, I send the message to myself first. If it's an email or a WhatsApp, I send it to myself first, because that it gives me an opportunity to review how would I feel, if I were to receive a message like this, and then tone down or whatever I need to do. And then I can still send it, but now it becomes a conscious message, and it provides an opportunity to control damage control in case it were to be too bad. So on that note, we will get into the mindfulness practice. Body scan meditation is what it is called. It will be about 20 minutes, very powerful. And we will also share the recording of just this meditation so that you can continue to practice this on an ongoing basis. So please sit comfortably with your back and neck in a straight line. Close your eyes gently. Place your arms on your lap, palms facing upwards. And start by taking in a few deep breaths. This is a little different from the exercise we did last time, where we asked you not to breathe in deeply, but just observe. But here we start by breathing in deeply. Breathe in deeply, filling your lungs completely. And exhale fully. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you inhale, observe how your stomach expands on an inhale and contracts as you exhale. How a balloon expands when we blow air in it and contracts when the air is released. Similarly, our stomach expands on an inhale and contracts as we exhale. Begin to let go of the noises around you. And begin to shift your attention from outside to inside yourself. We will now start observing sensations in our body. Sensation is any feeling you may have on the surface of your skin or inside. It could be touch of clothes against your skin or feeling of pulsation, throbbing, feeling cold or hot, or the breeze from the fan, AC, whatever. Slowly bring your attention to your feet and observe the sensations there. You may want to wiggle your toes a little and feel the floor, shoes, or socks, whatever you may be wearing. Just notice without judgment. Perhaps you don't feel anything at all, and that is fine too. Just allow yourself to feel the sensation of not feeling anything. Continue to breathe. When you are ready, move your attention up to your ankles, calves, knees, and thighs. Observe the sensations you are experiencing throughout your legs. If your mind begins to wander during this exercise, gently notice this without any judgment. And bring your mind back to noticing the sensations in your legs. If you notice any discomfort, pain, or stiffness, don't judge, simply notice. Observe how all sensations rise and fall, shift and change moment to moment. Notice how no sensation is permanent. Just observe and allow the sensations to be in the moment just as they are. Continue to breathe. Now gently move your attention to observe the sensations in your lower back, middle back, and the upper back. You may become aware of sensations in the muscle, temperature, or points of contact with furniture or the bed. With each out breath, you may let go of the tension you are carrying, and then very gently shift your focus to your stomach and all the internal organs there. Perhaps you notice the feeling of the clothing, the process of digestion, or the belly rising or falling with each breath. If you notice opinions arising about these areas, gently let these go and return to noticing sensations. Continue to breathe. Gently bring your awareness to the chest and heart region and notice your heartbeat. Observe how the chest rises during the inhale and falls during the exhale. Let go of any judgments that may arise. Gently shift the focus to your arms, hands, and fingertips. And observe the sensations in this area. As you exhale, release any tension that you may be feeling. Continue to breathe and shift focus to the neck, shoulder, and throat region. This is an area where we often have tension. Be with the sensations here. It could be tightness, rigidity, or any stiffness or pain. Notice how your shoulders move along with each breath. Let go of any thoughts or stories you're telling about this area. As you breathe, you may feel the tension rolling off your shoulders. On the next out breath, shift your focus and direct your attention to the scalp, head, and face, and observe all the sensations occurring here. Notice the movement of the air as you breathe into or out of the nostrils or mouth. As you exhale, you might notice the softening of any tension you may be holding. And now, let your attention expand out to include the entire body as a whole. Bring into your awareness the top of your head down to the bottom of your toes. Feel the gentle rhythm of the breath as it moves through the body. Continue to breathe. As we come to the end of this practice, take a full deep breath, taking in all the energy of this practice. Before you open your eyes, consider setting the intention that this practice of building awareness will benefit you and everyone you come in contact with today. Whenever you are comfortable, you may gently open your eyes and stay with the feeling for a couple of seconds. Thank you for practicing mindfulness with me. Anyone would like to share how this felt?
This felt nice, Ashishi. There were moments of thoughts coming in and coming out, and then focusing back on the voice. The experience was good. I felt great.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
sharing.
for sharing. Very, very, very calming. I really needed this today. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dev.
Very calming.
Thank you. Hello, Srilata.
Hello, sir. It's relaxing, sir. It's very nice and relaxing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And this is a very powerful practice. And Shruti, yes.
I was getting restless in the beginning, 2, 3 times it so happened. It was difficult to sit straight. I was doing my hands up and down. And then slowly I realized I was able to focus better. In fact, the focus was so beautiful, so deep that I, lost your voice also a couple of times towards the end. I was not able to hear you. So I was trying to focus on what you were saying, but I was just going deeper and deeper into the practice. And what I really loved was usually I do meditation with some music on. There is a lot of drama around. This was neat and clean, the simple instructions,
Yeah.
no music. So it was actually pure joy to detach from external world. There was no visualization, no image,
Yeah.
actually pure meditation, going within. So it was a beautiful, beautiful practice. Really enjoyed.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Shruti. Thank you.
So, acha,
Yes.
did I stop?
Okay. So we will now move on to discuss awareness about our judgments. And the judgments that we have about ourselves and about other people create our reality. And I'm going to show you a small video of about 3 minutes about Edison. Have some of you seen this with me earlier? Just raise your hands if you've seen the Edison video earlier with me. No. So I'll share with you the context of this video. So Edison comes back home. He's a kid, as you can see in the video, with a sealed envelope that is given by his teacher to be handed over to his mom. So he's home and he hands over the letter to the mom, who opens it and then reads it out to him. And then the scene cuts to when Edison has grown up and obviously he's very successful now. And one day when he was in his office clearing his old papers, he comes across this letter, which he has actually never read. Because when he was a kid, the letter was read for him by his mother. And then you have seen this.
Now I remember.
All right. So yeah, just stay, with me on this, Shruti. And then, he reads the letter for himself, and then we will discuss what happens in this.
Why are you not in school? Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have enough good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself. We're gonna have your read soon. You have to worry like dogs. I think over here. So certainly.
Medicine. Son is adult, is mentally slow and unable to think clearly. We won't let him come to school anymore. Sincerely, Headmaster Jonas.
Anyone would like to share what they saw in the video?
I feel teary. I don't know. It's so emotional. I just feel
Yeah.
little choked. It says 1,000 words. And I think we all go through this at some point in life.
Many, not some, many points in our life.
I don't know what to
This reminds me my interaction with my kid. I am always torn what to convey, how to convey, when to shout, right? And because of this, see, the power of thoughts. The mother instilled positive thoughts, and she worked towards it with the child, and the child never knew what it was, and things were so different. The outcome was so different. Had she read it out and would had scolded the child because of you, this and that, the child would had continued to be a failure. And that is what we do all the time.
So I have a question to each one of you. What was the reality in this case? Whether the Edison was dumb or was he a genius?
It was how the world saw him, depending upon their standards of being genius or being dumb.
Yeah, so I'll repeat my question. Was he dumb or a genius? What is the reality?
tricky question.
He could be,
Sorry, Devparna?
I think he could be whatever he wanted to be.
Yeah, that's a very intelligent response, Devparna. My question is very simple. Was he dumb or genius?
It's such a difficult question, actually.
I think if he was dumb, because we know the outcome, we are saying intelligent, right? Otherwise, we would have been in that part of the world, we would had also labeled him as dumb at that point of time.
He would have turned out to be someone with the caliber as he grew up. He could
Yeah, so
changed his her entire destiny just by changing the, I don't know, belief system or something like that.
so take a couple of minutes to reflect this in your life. Are we leading our lives according to what others are telling us about ourselves? And we don't have our mothers now, like I don't expect us to go to our mother and mom, tell me I'm a genius, but we are grown up people now when we can do this for ourselves. But are we living our lives in response to what that headmaster can be anyone, our boss, our colleague, our client, anybody else telling me that I am dumb or not good enough in any way? Or do I believe that I am a genius? Can we play the role of that mother to ourselves? How is it playing? How's the story playing out for you? When I talk to my clients and Edison was a genius, the teacher didn't have the right tools to understand. Yeah, I get that, Devparna. But you know what people tell me when I talk to them is, Ashish, you don't get what the reality is. You have no idea. I have idea what reality is. Reality is what we make of it.
Also, which reality, right?
Yeah, which reality?
Yeah,
So
which truth are you talking about? People say this is the truth, this is right, this is
yeah,
wrong. How
yeah,
do you know which is right, which is wrong?
correct, correct.
Who made you the judge?
But we are so swayed by what other people think. Look at the media. We are swayed by what newspapers tell us. We are swayed by what the TV anchors tell us. We are swayed by what teachers tell us, by what our relatives tell us. And we just believe that to be true. And there is something so beautiful that our Upanishads have said, which is Yatha Drishti Tatha Shrishti. And Edison's mother saw him as a genius, and she created a genius. And how do we look at ourselves? How do we look at our children? How do we look at our colleagues? How we do look at our spouses? Every way, every which way. A lot of people have challenges working with their colleagues, that this is how he is or she is. But are they really like that? Or is that's my interpretation of how they are? So it's 5:57. Take about 3 minutes to reflect on how this may be playing out in your life and how you would like to change that. And then at 6, if you have something you would like to share, we'll be happy to hear before we move on to the next part of it.
I already have something to share.
Yeah, sure.
Quite personal, but would love to share over here. It's a small group of people and we are discussing everything. So my husband recently joined me, in my venture. He left everything, his corporate role, and he just joined in. And I welcomed him with, open arms that let's do it all together. A lot of close people, very close relatives asked me later on that why is he leaving his such fantastic corporate job and joining you? He won't be able to make it, right? He's been into corporate. How come he'll do this? And this and that. A lot of questions from very close people. I've not told this to my husband. I've not told him. And I plan to tell him maybe many, many years later when we'll really make it big and he'll be like a super rock star. And that day I'll tell him that these people said this and you have turned it around. Because I feel if I tell him now, even casually, it might just stay in his mind and I don't want to stop him. And I also feel, who am I to decide what he can do? So somewhere I think this is quite relatable to this mother who did not say the reality.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, so it just came to my mind right now.
Thank you for sharing.
What about myself suddenly?
We all have our own stories. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Right. If there is someone who wants to share, please let me know. And then we'll move on. So it's that a mindful person, a person who is aware, it's not that we are not judging, but we are conscious of the judgments. And the next one is awareness about our gut feelings. And you would have heard many leaders talk about, I took this decision basis my gut. And there is a science behind gut feelings. There was a study done in University of Iowa where they gave out 2 decks of cards for people to play. a blue colored deck and a red colored deck. And there was real money for people to win and lose. And those who were playing with red colored deck realized that there is something wrong with the red deck, but cognitively they realized it only after playing 80 rounds. But what was interesting was they started having a hunch that there is something wrong with the red deck of cards after about 50 rounds, but they couldn't really articulate it. But what was really interesting was that after about 10 rounds, the body had already detected that there is something wrong, and their sweat glands had started reacting. So there is infinite intelligence that is there in our body, and we just need to tune into it to take to get the right guidance for the decisions that we need to take. So a lot of people who are highly self-aware, their quality of decisions is almost always accurate because they are tuned into it. When I talk about this, people say, no, I'm not tuned into a body, but that's a myth. We are, but we may not recognize it. So when we feel hungry, we are tuned into a body. When we feel thirsty, we are tuned into a body. When we feel hot or cold, we are tuned into a body. So we are, but we don't consciously recognize this as being tuned into the body. And as you practice this body scan meditation, you can get a better sense of what our body is communicating with us. And then, we can take decisions aligned with what feels right, rather than just thinking with our mind and getting all muddled and, confused and so many things. So this is about tuning into our body awareness. And the next one, which is very underrated, but highly, highly powerful, is awareness of our values. What do I really value in my life? And almost all the conflicts in our life are when it is not playing out, things are not playing out as our uh, in accordance with our values. Like, do I really value my career the most? Will I give up everything for my career? Or my family matters to me more, and I'll give up my career for my family? Or growth, do I really value growth so much that I will give up my job in a very solid old pedigreed MNC to go and start working for a startup? So do I value growth, or do I value security? Or do I value integrity? Will I give up my integrity to continue growing in my life, which could be designation growth or money growth or whatever? Or I'll place integrity over my career? Or look at freedom. Will I give up my freedom for the money that I get? So it's also called in the corporate parlance a golden handcuff. So you're handcuffed, you're getting a lot of money but no freedom to act. Will you be happy, or will you sacrifice your health? So whatever it is, figure out for yourself. And we may not have time to do this now in detail, but you can, the recording will be shared, and you can take a screenshot and work on this and identify what are your top 5 values. And this need not be the cast in stone. This may change or evolve over a period of time. Today, your value may be financial prosperity. Tomorrow, it could be health or learning or growth, whatever, or community. But do take time out. Or even if you're not taking time out, and if there is some point you are stressed or conflict, what is conflict? It's a conflict in the value system that we have. So explore this in a little bit greater detail. And next one is awareness of about time, how we spend our time. Most of us are very conscious about how we spend our money, but we're not really conscious about how we spend our time. We're not going to get into a full-blown discussion on time management right now. There is another session I have on that, but not as a part of this series. But there are two things I would like to draw your attention to. This is the best, what I consider as the best time management which beats this. And I would like to draw your attention to what is there in quadrant 2 and what is there in quadrant 4. And for the purpose of our session today, if you can focus on what are the activities in quadrant 2 that align with your goals. So what are your goals and what are the quadrant 2 activities? So if you're whatever your goal is, are you doing research about it? Are you planning and preparing for it, building capability on it, networking around it, and taking time out to recreate yourself? And the more amount of time you spend in quadrant 2, the better your life will be. Like people say, ki, if you look at my palm, our palmist says that if you look, they can look at your palm and tell you what the future is. I can tell anybody's future depending on the amount of time they're spending in quadrant 2. Most of the business leaders, highly successful, effective business leaders, will be spending about 50 to 70% of their time in quadrant 2. I'm not saying that you start spending 50% time from tomorrow, but even if you can start spending 10, 15 minutes or 1 hour or half an hour in quadrant 2, networking, relationship, building capability, developing your capabilities, doing research about the opportunities which are there, or becoming an expert in your field, it'll pay very, very rich dividends. And the other thing, the quadrant 4 is all the time wasters. We spoke about it in the last session also. Paying attention to the time robbers. We won't let a robber come into our home and steal our money, but we happily let robber come into our life and steal our time. So all the time we spend watching mindless reels mindlessly, or whatever we are wasting our time on. I'm not saying stop them, but progressively reduce. And sometimes this quadrant 4 can get confused with the recreation in quadrant 2. Scrolling of reels is not recreation. Recreation, as the word says, is something which will recreate you. It's a hobby or an activity which will rejuvenate you. And on the other hand, the social media is highly stressful. So there is a lot of research which says that spending time on Facebook and Instagram actually leads to high stress over a period of time. So this is something which I like to leave as a thought with you, and I'll also like to pause to hear your thoughts on what we have discussed so far, whether it is related to judgments or gut feeling or the time management. Anyone, anything you would like to share?
Yes, Ashish, I think time management tool is very powerful. We have discussed this previously also, and that time also, I think I told you my challenge with social media, because all the work is digital. So there has to be a line drawn between what is important and then when to withdraw. So I'm still working on it. I think, yes, it needs, I don't know, it needs more discipline, some
Yeah.
awareness. Though I have done my settings on my phone. So on Instagram, especially, it's 35 minutes.
Okay.
I spend 35 minutes whole day, it gives me a warning, and sometimes I remove that warning because I'm doing some work and in the middle it'll just pop up 35 minutes got over. So I'll extend it by 10 minutes more. I'm going to work on this, and this is very, very powerful. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah. So one way I look at quadrant 4 is that whether it helps me make money or not. So if I'm watching reels, it helps the person whose reels I'm watching make money, but it doesn't help me make money. So I won't do anything which doesn't make me money. I rather do anything which helps me make money rather than the other person.
Which means work is important, so do that much and then just come out of it.
Yeah.
It's a stimulant, though I keep talking to other people that don't use this as a stimulant, but when it comes to me, I realize I'm also, once you're there doing your work, you tend to scroll.
Yeah.
That's how it is designed, right? So yes, I think with awareness, one can just be more mindful.
Awareness is the first step.
Yeah, awareness is the first step, I agree. And I'm trying to unconsciously, Ashish, this tool was very powerful, the model. While I'm trying to shift myself to quadrant 2, the fourth one, how I'm tackling is the fourth one is that, you identify your anchor, what I feel bad about. So when I scroll, there is obviously a guilt feeling. Everybody has a guilt feeling. So, but like how Ashish said that for him, whether he's earning money out of me. So what I have now been practicing is that now what is dear to me is that my time should be productive. I should learn out of my time, or I should be able to give a tangible output to the time spent. If I'm not able to do that, then that's a waste of time or waste of engagement activity I'm indulging in. So when that consciousness or awareness has come in, my time on social media and all these reels are getting reduced, thankfully.
What I also noticed was your last point in the your point in the last session. When you're distracted, you're actually not distracted for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, because when I take a break, I'm like, okay, this is
Yeah,
my
yeah,
free time, but actually it takes so much more time to get back, almost half an hour. So
correct,
that
correct.
I'm very aware of, and I completely agree. And I just realized that I must be like wasting so many minutes in the day. I could have done something else. So
Sure.
that is also a beautiful realization.
Thank you. Another tool which I personally use is snoozing on the phone. So I like watching stand-up comics on my YouTube. So I'll typically watch, my ideal time is 10 minutes, but if I really like, I may continue for another 10. So typical average would be about 20. Sometimes I may extend to 30, but that is something I do during the mid of the day just to refresh myself. So snooze is another 10 minutes. Snooze is effective tool to monitor how much time you're spending on YouTube. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Sudeshna.
So last time I told you how I am finicky about cleaning up my phone. But just see, I don't know whether you are able to see, there are so many notifications, as many as 23, and I haven't touched it. So small things I'm trying.
Very
मैंने
nice.
सोचा है होने दो, जितना नोटिफिकेशन आना है आने दो.
Yeah.
It is not important. It may be important somewhere here, but यही जगह को साफ करना बहुत जरूरी है. मैं वापस अपने हैंगओवर चल रहा है, बिकॉज आई जस्ट कम बैक फ्रॉम द विलेज. गांव में देयर इज अ यू नो सो आई एम इट्स अ क्रॉस कल्चरल क्रॉस रीजनल मैरिज आई एम हैविंग. So I took my mother to our native. So she is from Kolkata, West Bengal. I am married to Gujarati. And वो भी Kathiawad, the dry arid land of Gujarat, जहाँ पानी नहीं था, जहाँ drought होता है. So people there are very different. तीखा खाते हैं, साफ बोलते हैं, बहुत मेहनती है. एंड कैलकाटा के लोग एकदम ना मस्ती. सब कुछ मिलता था ना वहाँ, पानी है एंड ऑल दैट. तो so yesterday my in-laws were explaining to my mother that what are the different rituals, क्योंकि हम लोग अष्टमी का पूजा वूजा कर रहे थे वहाँ. He told, which I knew, but कल I again realigned to that, कि जब भी पूजा होता है, so माँ was wanting to know that आपके यहाँ rituals ज्यादा होते नहीं है. Meetings, it's sort of लोग बैठ के they are talking, thinking, and she didn't understand because it was a different language. तो वो क्या था जो कल था पूजा, कोई पूजा फूल वगैरह इतना कुछ था नहीं. तब उन्होंने बोला हमारे लिए पूजा is aligning to the core. पूजा तब तक सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगा जब तक all the families they do not, if they do not let go whatever they are holding against each other, or some unfulfilled promise अगर है, भगवान को ये मन्नत है भूल गए या कुछ भी, ये ठीक हो जाएगा वहां ले जाएंगे and all that, everyone has to understand or recall या remember क्या है जो मैंने बोला है और वो हुआ नहीं है. It has been a broken promise. To realign to that, जैसे ही वो होता है, then there are some vidhi and all which there are some signs, signals, जिसमें वो पता चलता है कि now the देवी माँ has accepted your offering. इतना अजीब था. और I have heard this several times, but because I do not stay in the village, so ये सब हम सुनते हैं. और हम जब वहां जाते हैं और देखते हैं, It is simple integrity and very difficult. I mean, integrity is not at all simple. It's difficult and it is so real, you know. Even now, मेरे को goosebumps आ रहा है. That is what they consider as puja. So it is very simple. कोई कि नहाना है, ये चमकाना है, वो पानी उस कलश में, इस थाली में, nothing. Just the way you are. मन साफ करो. Clean yourself from inside. जब तक वो होगा नहीं, the thing will not just happen. वो देर रात हो जाएगा. So difficult, very difficult. So my mother was odd कि मुझे पता ही नहीं था इसके बारे में.
So am I hearing you, am I understanding you right? So Deshna, that's awareness of your spoken word and the promise that you have made and keeping up.
Yes.
That's
the word you have given, you connect with it and you fulfill it. अगर नहीं हुआ है, say sorry that वो नहीं हो, but उसको छोड़ मत दो. Unfulfilled कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. You finish it with whoever, whichever, and it seems तुम लोग transgenerational भी जाते हैं. Like if your forefathers haven't completed, कुछ अधूरा छोड़ दिया, then it is your task to find it and complete it.
Very
so nice. Relationships इतना important. So बड़ा बहुत अच्छा लगा. And so while you were doing this, I was बार getting reminded that क्योंकि मेरे बच्चे यही बड़े हुए हैं अहमदाबाद में, they do not like going to our village, और especially उनको लगता है ये सब mindless activities. But इस बार because my mother उनको मेरे को ले जाना था, by force they had come. And now जब आपने ये दिखाया ये matrix, तो मेरे को लगा कि wow, कि ये, and they liked it because गांव के काफी सारे लोग आए थे, हमारे बहुत सारे relatives आए थे, तो उनको अच्छा लगा. And certainly it was not a time waster, it was not mindless, it was not trivial, and it was not unproductive.
Yeah.
It was certainly important, though not urgent. So I was so happy to put it in quadrant 2, this activity, which my children will understand as time goes by. But एक चीज है, हम कहते हैं कि उनको push मत करो, force मत करो. But because my it was sort of a force, क्योंकि I really wanted that everyone should come to that. तो अब लग रहा है कि कुछ समय का मतलब पेरेंट्स एकदम वैसे मतलब अगर मैं ऐसे ही रहती कि ठीक है तुमको नहीं आना है तो मत आओ टाइप्स, so they would have missed out on this beautiful thing that they experienced.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
That's all.
Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. It's relationship building and, you know, spending time mindfully with your relatives and learning about your traditions. Thank you for sharing that. There is a video which we won't watch now, but this is something I'll share in the group and you can watch it. This talk, you know, so one of the things pushback I often get about quadrant 2 is where is the time for doing it, Ashish? So this video very beautifully, it's a 4-minute video which explains how by prioritizing quadrant 2, everything in our life aligns to it. And now we are moving to the last part, which is what I consider the most significant part of our session today is awareness of our strengths. And I'll show this picture to you. And my question to you is, first of all, do you recognize who these people are? And if yes, then quickly read out their names. And then my next question, I'll ask you the next question. Starting with the left, top left.
Elon Musk,
Elon Musk.
Mukesh Ambani.
Yes.
This one is Jeff.
Jeff Bezos, Amazon.
Bill Gates.
Yes.
Gentlemen, I'm forgetting the name. He's the father of mindfulness, right?
No, this one, the one in the middle, bottom is Warren Buffett.
Oh, is he Warren Buffett?
Yeah. And
Steve Jobs.
And then Steve Jobs. Okay. Now my second question.
Warren Buffett is for what?
Investor. He's top 10 richest people in the world. Self-made billionaire worth over 100 billion. पूरा दान दे दिया उन्होंने. Okay.
Oh.
Almost 90.
And the one And the one next to, above Steve Jobs, मैंने उनको भी नहीं पहचाना.
Jeff Bezos of Amazon.
Oh,
So on the left top is Elon Musk, then Mukesh
हाँ.
Ambani, then Jeff Bezos of Amazon, then Bill Gates of Microsoft, then Warren Buffett and Steve Jobs. Okay. Now my next question is, what is same in all these people?
They live in
What is
quadrant
similar?
2.
Sorry?
They live in the quadrant 2.
They live in the quadrant 2, okay.
They are very
Okay.
different in their own ways. They are different and they're not comparing themselves with others. They're just doing their work, just doing
Beautiful.
their thing.
Yeah.
Three of them.
There is no competition between them.
Yeah.
Their
Okay.
goal was very high. They did not, they started small towards their goal. They kept their goal very high, which was like, if they would have shared with others, people would have surely laughed off and would have said that it is impossible. What you are going to take will cost you less.
Correct.
They set
Correct.
their bar too high and worked towards it.
Yeah.
And they had a vision. So they all are visionaries. They, as you rightly said,
They are all visionaries. They've got their own strengths. They didn't compare themselves with others. They have very high goals, right? Yes.
I don't know about Elon Musk or the other person, but the remaining four of them are known for their philanthropic trend.
Yeah.
They're
They are
philanthropists.
very grateful.
Yeah.
They are living by, they were or are living
Yeah.
by the attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. The point is that none of these guys are similar to each other. You know, they're all very different. Elon Musk is very different from Steve Jobs. Jeff Bezos very different from Bill Gates. Mukesh Ambani very different from Warren Buffett. But none of them tried to copy each other. They all built on their strengths and play to their strengths. Most of the times, we get very distracted with our weaknesses. We are not fully aware of our strengths. But the beauty is when we play to our strengths, when we identify and become aware of our strengths and play to our strengths, then the progress we can make is infinite. All these people are self-made, except Mukesh Ambani. They are all self-made billionaires, okay? And they're the richest in the world. 20, 30 years back, 40, 50 years back, they were not even there on the scene. So in one lifetime, by playing to their strengths, they have created what is truly mind-blowing. And this is what is very powerful. You know, there is so much time we spend getting distracted. Oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, but why bother about what you're not good at? Why not focus on what we are good at? And when we do that, the magic happens, and all these guys are proof of that. When I ask people, what are your strengths? Mostly people will say 1, 2, or 3. If I push them a little bit more, they will come up with 4 or 5 strengths. 99.9% people can't count more than 5 strengths. And there is this very interesting book that I have, which is Strengths Finder by Don Clifton. And Don Clifton has been researching on strengths for over 50 years. And this book he's considered a master. And he's identified 34 strengths, which we have. I haven't heard anyone being even aware that, we can have 5, 10, 15, 20 strengths. Of course, there are classifications, but there are about 34 different strengths. So the last thing I would like to leave with you today is to identify and work on your strengths and work them to a level that your weakness becomes insignificant. Okay. And not be distracted. And another interesting point Don Clifton makes in this book is that there is only incremental improvement you can make in your weakness. But the improvement that you can make in your strengths is infinite. Nobody has grown big by working on their weakness. You just manage your weakness, you know. So once you become aware, this is my weakness, you manage it. So either you hire a teammate who is good in that part of the skills that you need, or you don't get into a situation where you will appear weak because the weakness will stand out, or whatever, you know, you manage your weakness rather than worry about it. So that is the last thing which I wanted to share with you, which to my mind is completely mind-blowing. Is that, you know, work on your strengths, become aware, become aware of your strengths, and completely dedicate your life to working on your strengths. And on that note, we will bring the session to a close and open it up to any questions or comments that you may have.
Like, this is a game changer, what we just discussed. And I realize I'm working a lot on my weaknesses. I'm doing that, learning new things, learning new skills, trying to overcome what I don't know. I think this is a huge shift for me. I should rather focus only on strengths. And yes,
Yeah.
Well, having said that, Ashish, means all these people also had their weaknesses, obviously, but it was
Everybody
never
has.
highlighted. They just worked on their strengths. It's not
Everybody
they
has.
were perfect. They were not perfect.
Narendra Modi couldn't speak English. You know, that's a weakness. Today he's a global leader here. वो सबको जाके झप्पियां मार रहा है. Can't speak English till about 10 years back, and he practiced on it, you know. So okay, I'm not saying you leave your weakness, you work on it, but don't be distracted by it is the point. Okay.
But sometimes you need to do, so you have to work it out because you can't just leave it. That's why, sometimes I struggle. Right now, I can't hire everyone for everything. So I end up doing things which I don't know how to do. And in that sense, then I'm also getting distracted away. I'm not focusing on the things I should be doing.
See, I'll come in, Shruti. I've been an HR practitioner and I have done Clifton strengths. So, while Ashish is saying that you can't only do make incremental improvement in the weakness, while strength can give you infinite results, and which is true. Now, for example, I'm telling you, for me, influencing is to be able to influence people is not at a high score strength in my Clifton assessment, but I'm still very influencing. Why? Because I'm relatable. I connect well with people. So what happens? This strength of mine pulls me up to be influensive, to be more influencing than others. Influencing as an isolation doesn't work for me. Okay, being assertive doesn't work for me. But what works for me is a strength. So your strength will leverage the other strength which you don't have. I will not call it weakness. I would say another strength which you don't have, you are not aware of. Find that for yourself. Find that for yourself, that what is leveraging what you are doing good.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And sometimes this weakness also, you never know, it just turns around and becomes one of your powers.
Yeah, so you
Things that
leverage your strength to
yes.
identify your weakness. So I was, when I took the Clifton assessment strength, and then I realized that how am I every time very successful with all my stakeholders. I have been given tough stakeholders in my life, and every time I have turned it around. How? And I don't consider myself to be a dominant personality. I don't consider myself to be a very influencing or assertive personality. These are very male competencies, right? They're not female competencies. So don't try to work out on something which is not in your DNA. As simple as that. Work on something which is in your DNA and which is in your strength. So then I realized what is working well. So I take on responsibilities on my shoulder. There's unspoken responsibility which I take. There are fallouts, which is fine, but that is leveraging somewhere. I'm relatable, I connect with people well. So that is leveraging somewhere. So that is what you have to also identify, rather than getting sucked down on your improvement areas, which you are hiring people for your improvement area, complimenting you, which is a great thing to do. But don't get sucked down there.
Thank you, Rinki, for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Very powerful, Ricky. बहुत अच्छा लगा.
Ashish, वो thumbnail when you were showing, I was just imagining I want to be the seventh one. And then
Why not?
possible I guess lifetime. And then I just was like, okay, let's not go there.
No, share your story next time. Maybe I'll be telling your stories, Shruti.
Everybody dreams, and sometimes you just dream and you look at such people. Is it really possible to reach that level?
So all these people have made it in their lifetime. So Warren Buffett used to sell newspaper on a bicycle, and he used to earn money and invest in stock markets. And he taught himself to invest in stock markets, today worth more than $100 billion. And
Steve Jobs
97,
started in a garage.
sorry,
Job started in a garage.
Steve Jobs started, and having earned that money, he's given it away, 97% of it. So, it's a completely amazing story. So just play to your strengths. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, everybody. Dhirubhai Ambani was used to fill petrol in a petrol pump, and he thought, why not own a refinery where this petrol comes from? And then we have Jamnagar.
I have a very small story in Jaipur. So my daddy used to tell me, though he's not that big a guy, but he's a tycoon in Jaipur. He has the biggest of the export houses, this man, and biggest of the retail stores, bridal wear and all that. Very famous person in Jaipur. So we used to go and shop, there. My daddy used to tell me that that guy used to actually come on a bicycle to sell saris from home to home, and my daddy used to purchase. My dad
Mm,
used to say I used to buy saris from him and he would just
yeah,
cycle. And now he's like
yeah,
really having so much a huge business. So similar story. And I used to
yeah,
think,
yeah.
how is it possible?
Yeah, scale is different, but many people have, amazing stories.
Yeah, yeah.
It was Amitabh Bachchan's birthday day before yesterday, and he was on KBC. And he was unemployed actually for a period of time and feeling very frustrated. You can imagine somebody like Amitabh Bachchan being unemployed, being frustrated, and today, what has he created, Yeah. So amazing, amazing stories. People
These
play.
people really played on their strengths, right?
Yeah, Amitabh Bachchan, another example, his voice, which
Rejected
was
because of his voice.
and it was considered a weakness. People told him, he was actually rejected. That who will,
Rejected. Yeah.
basis his voice and basis his height,
And now he is like amazing
known
because
for
of his
that.
voice. So weakness can also just turn around. You never
It's
know.
contextual. Like Edison was considered weak, addled, confused, and thrown out. Same for Amitabh Bachchan, and see how they have transformed their life. So, who is to decide that this is your weakness, other than we are our own selves? Good. Any other takeaways you want to reflect? Stay on for another 2-3 minutes, reflect on what we have discussed today, and then share and close. Then maybe we can close the session.
I'm also
Maybe
thinking
take,
about
yeah,
values that
values. Yeah, very powerful.
like for me,
Very powerful.
freedom is like my favorite value always, and I've
Ah,
shared
yeah,
this with you. Freedom and health. So
yeah,
sometimes it is difficult to choose that should you always check on freedom and health before
yeah,
making decisions, or sometimes you have to compromise a little.
yeah.
So that
So Ashish, I have a question. I when I saw your value list, and I have been generally confused whenever I see between career and freedom. My first instant reaction is that my career is my biggest value. But why? Because career gives me the freedom of everything which I think of, to make choices, to buy something, to be able to voice my opinion, to be able to stand in a social circle. Okay, and so in this case one is leading to another. In this case, what should be my the value number one, career or the freedom?
Why don't we hear from others before I respond? Yeah, Shruti, Sudeshna.
I think it's a good question. I also have the question. That's what I also meant in another way. That how do you sometimes choose because they are so overlapping each other.
Yeah.
So I recently did a shift in my job. So and I changed that job after I had almost decided. Everyone around me in my near immediate and far off ecosystem had understood that this is going to be the retirement job for me. मतलब इतना ज़्यादा I was,
Mm.
and then I found another one, and I just detached from my previous one and went to the other. So when वो career वगैरह जब आशीष जी का slide था ना, तब मैं सोच रही थी, I'll just take out that paper, career growth, security, integrity, freedom, health. तो मैं सोच रही थी कि why did I shift? Because the previous one was giving me a lot of happiness, बहुत ज़्यादा, and freedom. I had a lot of space, security also. और career भी अच्छा ही था, growth नहीं था. मतलब I was doing the same job from the last 10 years and I was damn good at it. The job which I have given me now is that thing which, it keeps me on my toes. I have forgotten my knee pain. I have forgotten, मैं पहले वहां बहुत बोलती थी, ये मैं तो यहीं से रिटायर होने वाली हूँ. See my grace and all that. Now I do not have the time for all those stuff, you know. So yes, यहाँ पे मेरा freedom has been curtailed because नया है and the way the new job is, throwing different challenges to me. Yes, I do not have freedom. Security है, but career तो ठीक है, वहाँ भी था, यहाँ भी है. But I'm seeing immense possibility of growth, and I am learning things which was not happening there. So that was मैं सोच रही थी. I don't know, मतलब I'm just sharing my experience.
Yeah, sure,
मुझे
sure.
आपका नहीं पता. तो घर में मतलब किसी ने नहीं सोचा था तुम मतलब almost like because I come from a social development sector, so I was working in a shelter home and 100 बच्चे वो सब as if मेरे वैसा kind of integration हो चुका था. And suddenly one day I decided अब नहीं. And yes, सभी ने बताया कि you will miss us and all that. I am a foodie और वहाँ पे खाना बहुत अच्छा मिलता है और शेल्टर होम है, किचन भी है, जब चाहो you can ask कि मुझे खाना है and all that. So बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो मैं भी सोच रही थी कि ये मिस होगा, ये मिस होगा. But after getting into this new job, nothing matters because finally then I realized that I also value growth and personal, I like challenging myself, and that is getting satisfied in the new place.
Very nice. So this is very, very layered, and our life is a discovery of our values. So as we go along, we will find that. But we should identify because that becomes a very good compass for us to take decisions whether I value, what do I value? Growth over, what else, and so on and so forth. So, Rinki, are you there?
Ashish, I would also like to just share one quick.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
sure,
I'm
sure.
there, Ashish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I tried Ho'oponopono on a friend who has severe calf pain because of walking. He's 60 and he's a runner. So doctor asked him not to run and walk. So while walking, he got cramp and the pain was there for last, I think, 1 month, severe pain that he's not even able to go for his morning walks. So I asked him, I took his permission. I said, I'm just trying something. Okay, I just need your permission. Are you open to it? I just felt it's nice for the person to know that I'm doing something for him. He said, okay, go ahead and do, let's see if it works. So after 2-3 days, I asked him that, how's your leg? He said, I can't believe it's much, much better.
So sweet.
And every day he's telling me that he's improving. But then he also says, I also got a massage done from a guy. Maybe that is working, not your Ho'oponopono. And he's not able to.
Then I will reach out to you, Shruti. I mean, Ashish, yes.
2-3 times, six times, 2-3 times with pure intention that, I want to heal. And let's see. He is improving. Now he's also making me, though he's thankful. But he says, massage bhi kiya tha, so maybe that. And he teases me, nahi, Ho'oponopono is working like that. So my question is, how do we really measure? Like, though I have faith that I have really worked hard and that is improving him, but then he also got a massage done. So is it the impact of the massage or Ho'oponopono or a combination? Or we wouldn't know and just be happy that ultimately it's working. So how do?
Okay. Yeah.
So again, personal take on this. I don't know what happened there, but for me, Ho'oponopono is a way of aligning the forces, energies. So that massage could have happened earlier also. It happened.
It worked. Something worked. So even
Yes.
the massage worked because they were vibrations sent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So जो आप कर रहे हो बहुत सही कर रहे हो.
I've stopped it because he said Ho'oponopono. I said, okay, I've given you for 3 days enough. Now you're better. So now I'm treating someone else.
एक चीज जो मुझे लगता है, because I practice Ho'oponopono a lot, and I cannot question the validity of Ho'oponopono. मतलब I should not. Full मतलब जो है यही. Surrender is the word. So whether or not that runner believes it or in it or not a problem at all. आप जो कर रहे हो एकदम सही कर रहे हो.
When you do it, you feel so beautiful,
Yeah.
empowered because of the vibrations, or it's just beautiful. And I think these 4 topics are so huge topics, as a whole. Each topic is such a big topic, and we are combining everything, and it's so fast, it's so quick. So I really love doing it. I want to do more of it.
And I think you should continue doing it. It's like Sudeshna said, it's very powerful.
I
And
made it a
like
part of my morning walk. So when I go for a morning walk, I choose
Hmm.
how I want to apply it. So yeah.
And as I mentioned in my session also, it's infallible. It works 100%. So it works. And maybe
So,
the
yeah.
massage guy came because you did Ho'oponopono, otherwise he would not have come.
Yeah.
Of late, I have started doing Ho'oponopono, मतलब for at least 5. वैसे पूरा करेंगे सबके लिए. 5 strangers, मतलब एकदम just 5 strangers जो मेरे दिमाग में आए. I don't know what is happening to them or to me, but that is what I am aligning me with. So, and it gives such a sense of security. कोई भी problem आता है ना, Ho'oponopono कर लेंगे.
मुझे I will
I
reach out to you guys. I will like to learn more. But I don't know. Ho'oponopono तो I have not tried. But ये जो energy healing modality है, I don't know how it works. Sudeshna and Shruti, you will throw more light, because I have tried couple of them in the past and spent money also. Not couple, maybe more. But I have not seen results. I have not experienced any outcome. And now I question if I'm paying anything. It's like paying a medical bill. When you are not well, you do all this, right? Or for betterment of you. So there should be some tangible. When you have handed over a hospitalization discharge summary, you have everything. कहाँ खर्चा हुआ, क्या हुआ, किधर है, क्या outcome है. अगर स्टिच ठीक नहीं हुआ, you can go back to the doctor. But in these modalities, how do you see an outcome? Like what Shruti was.
Self-evaluation is the only way, because
Yeah. So how in fact, I
I
have.
feel it all starts with intention. This is what I've realized. Your 50% of the healing happens when your intention is in place. That's how I feel about it. When you start
Shruti,
and
I feel I'm sorry to cutting you, but I have approached it with all full intention. When it works, people say, "Oh, I had full faith in it." For people who it doesn't work, अरे तुम्हारे मन में खोट था. It's like going to a मंदिर, right? तुम्हारी भगवान ने सुन ली, तुमने बहुत श्रद्धा से किया होगा प्रेयर, तुम्हारी नहीं सुनी, तुम्हारी understanding में नहीं थी, तुम्हारे मन में खोट था. All that. So it is like, to me.
Ashish can reply to this the best.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, yeah.
Sure. So we just before this session, Rinki, we did a session on the magical success rituals, and there were 2 rituals which particularly have worked a lot for me, is gratitude and Ho'oponopono, and both of them are infallible. They're अचूक. उनका कोई वो नहीं है, मतलब मिस नहीं कर सकते आप उनसे. 100% काम करते हैं. Of course, one needs to do it with intention and right frame of mind. But they work very, very powerfully. And maybe I'll just take 2 more minutes to respond to your earlier one question, Rinki. We're already 45 minutes more than the scheduled time, so I won't hold everybody. To my mind, freedom is your number 1 value. And, your career takes you to that.
Yeah.
So it's a route to get to freedom, but eventually it is your freedom. And then career also you can define, whether career means a job or something else. So how are you defining as something you need to evaluate? And, if you have a very successful career, but you don't have successful in the sense you have a job which pays you like whatever, but you don't have freedom, will you be happy? You won't be, right? Because you value your freedom eventually. So those are some of the ways you can look at to determine which is the most important value. But the point is to be overall aware of what my top 5 values are. It may from time to time, first may become second, second may become third, and so on and so forth. They're fungible within the top five in a relative sense. But it's important to be aware what I really value, because that is where the source of all the conflict and stress. And once we are lead a life aligned to our values, then again the magic happens. So it's already 6:45. I'm not sure if you want to carry on the conversation. I'm happy to be here to respond, but I leave it to you to decide. You want to spend another couple of minutes to just reflect on what we have discussed today, and have any questions, I'm happy to take. Otherwise, we can close. So you decide.
I would take leave, everyone,
Yeah, I
and
know.
I would like to, and I like to engage with Shruti and Sudeshna
Yes. So
more.
please keep the group active.
Yeah.
This is a small group. Keep it active. Use it. Use to interact with each other. Comment. Share your takeaways. If not now here in the group, share your takeaways from today, and keep actively engaged. So thank you very much. We connect next on Thursday at 8 p.m. 7:45 rather. And we'll talk about acceptance. The next one is acceptance, which is again a miraculous one. And very misunderstood one. So that's what we're going to spend.
Beautiful sessions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.